That is a demonstration of making notes. And no, you're not going to make notes like that on the exam. What we're talking about today is speaking part 2. All right? What happens in speaking part 2 is the examiner will give you instructions, okay? And then she or he will hand you a booklet, and there is a card on it, okay? And it says, for example, describe a movie. You can say what it was about, who was in it, where you saw it, and explain why you liked it, for example, okay? What I've noticed a lot of IELTS students doing, especially students who are from a culture that does not write a lot. Okay, so I'm talking about some of my Middle Eastern students, okay, who in your culture, talking is everything, okay, and you guys do great on the speaking test, except in this part, okay? And I want you guys to get higher scores in speaking part 2. So if you want to get a higher score in speaking part 2, you must take notes. Why, Jessica? Why must we take notes? Okay, one thing you're graded on is fluency and coherence, okay? In order to get a 7 or higher for fluency and coherence, you must have an organized answer, and you must speak for the whole 2 minutes in part 2, in speaking part 2 on the exam, okay? I know the examiner says speak for 1 to 2 minutes, but they are lying. They want to hear you talk for the whole 2 minutes, okay? If you choose not to take notes, and I see this a lot, guys, if you choose not to take notes, what happens is sometimes you can't talk for the whole 2 minutes because you don't know what to say. You didn't give yourself time to think about it. So when you have to start talking, you don't know what else to say, okay? If you think about your answer for a whole minute, okay? Take some notes on your answer. You will be able to keep going when you start talking, okay? So that's number 1. Also, for fluency and coherence, in order to get a high score, your answer has to be organized, all right? So let me tell you what I see, okay, when students do not take notes, all right? So let me show you what happens, okay? Pretend I'm a student, okay? The examiner gives me the card. I look at it. Describe a movie. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk. Okay, describe a movie. I saw the movie Jupiter Ascending. I was with my friends. Where was it? I went to a cinema near my house. Why you liked it? Yeah, it was okay. There were some flying actions and fighting, and it was fine. Was that 2 minutes? No. Was it even organized? No. Okay, you can't just automatically have an awesome part 2 answer, okay? Trust me, you need to give yourself time to think about it. That's what that minute of preparation is for, all right? So when the examiner gives you the card, okay, read the card, and then you also get a piece of paper to take notes on, okay? Use it, guys. Use it, guys and girls. When I say guys, I mean girls also. Everyone, take the time, okay? And then when you start speaking in part 2, your answer is going to be fantastic. It's going to be organized. It will be fluent. It will be long enough. It will impress the examiner. So please practice this at home. Take the time to take notes. just like the examiner tells you to. And then the examiner will tell you when to start talking and when to stop talking. All right? So I'm going to practice now. I'm going to give you an example part 2 answer describing a movie. All right? Just like the example that I gave you before of a not so good student talking about that. Okay? All right. So I'm going to use my trusty phone to time myself so I make sure that I speak for 2 minutes because I can keep talking. So I have to stop myself. Fluency is no problem for me, guys. Okay. So starting now. The topic today that I have to talk about is the last movie I saw, and I am super excited to get this topic because I love movies, so I feel pretty lucky right now. Actually, the last movie I saw, I watched on Netflix. I was at home a couple nights ago, and honestly, I love old movies. I love old black and white flicks from like the 1940s, even 1950s. So I watched a classic movie called All About Eve, and it starred Betty, oh gosh darn it, I just forgot her name now. My mind totally blanked on her name. It'll come back to me later. But super famous actress that stars in it. You would know it if you saw her. She has big eyes and beautiful hair. And so her character was an aging Broadway star. Still beautiful, still successful, getting all the parts. And one day, a young lady, a young beautiful woman named Eve works her way into the life of this older actress, and Eve is sneaky, and charming. So what Eve does is she studies this older actress, pretends to be her friend, pretends to want to help her, and actually studies her and tries to steal her life because Eve, all she wants is success. And she is just a selfish, driven young woman that wants to be a successful Broadway star. So she tries to steal this life, and there's intrigue, there's drama, and it sounds quite dramatic, but there were a lot of funny lines. I mean, it was over 2 hours, and I loved it. I laughed, I even cried in a couple parts. I mean, I was so into this movie. Okay, that's 2 minutes. So notice how everything is connected, okay, in my part 2 answer. I know I didn't take notes, but I prepared for this beforehand and thought about my answer, so I did prepare. Okay, guys, so that's our short mini lesson for today. Take notes in part 2, get a higher score for fluency and coherence. If you want more resources, tips, and tricks like these, please visit our website, www.ielts.allearsenglish.com, and please check out our excellent IELTS course, 3 Keys IELTS. Prepare for the prepare for the test. Get everything you need, all the practice, all the study plans you need in 3 Keys IELTS. Thanks for listening, guys. Good luck.